Hello and welcome to season 4, episode 17 of Dualistic Unity. I am recognizing how untrue the story has always been as I'm seeing, quote unquote, my reality, myself, as not being what I think. It's been harder to settle upon certain things, but it's hitting me more that uncertainty for everything that I've felt like I've been so certain about pertains to me as well. And without so much story, oh fuck, what's possible? I don't know. But it's interesting to not have so much or knowing anything you settle upon isn't it. It's like there's like a slipperiness. It's like trying to grab onto a icicle or something. Just keeps slipping off in a way. But it's yeah. So anyway.
And I am currently on mushrooms. And if you haven't noticed, so is Andrew. And we're going to start the episode with that note because this episode is very much recorded under the influence. Both Andrew and myself are on the higher side of the microdosing scale. I won't say exactly how much. I do want to caution anybody who is watching this that I promise no coherence and definitely no set, organized, planned, rehearsed conversation in any way, shape, or form. Quite frankly, for the last hour, I have been either wandering around my house, playing with my cat, or lying on the yoga mat, just taking in how much I am and how much I always appreciate how much I am when I get out of the way and stop trying to be something. So this entire episode is under the influence, and we appreciate your patience and your understanding as we do our best to take the things that we normally take so seriously as seriously.
Right. It's funny because even with this right now, so we gave ourselves some time to come up, and I went on a walk with my dog and was just getting smacked with insights, but it wasn't different insights. It was like the same things. It's really not that different as any other walk that I go on. Like it's the same sort of thoughts, but there's like a crispness to it almost. There's not the like fuzzy edges about it of like, oh yeah, maybe. It's like, yeah, this is it's you. Like it takes you from pondering certain things to being like, yeah, that thing you've been pondering for a while. Yeah, like here it is. Look at it. This is it. This is you. Good luck trying to avoid that. And so there's sort of a spectrum we go through with being so certain about what we are, and mushrooms can help unravel those things. And then being in that state when you're not on mushrooms, and then it's like the mushrooms take you further into that to like you still thought you were somewhere, and they're like, here's more in a sense. And so it's not to it's what I was trying to get across was like it's not like there's a while where mushrooms are just like everything is more freeing, but then there's discomfort mixed in, certainly. It's like there's a freedom, but it's a different sort of freedom because like the whole time, as my intro may have shown, it was like, oh fuck, the story is what's keeping me caught, sort of. And so without that, it's like, oh yeah, there's more freedom. There's also a lot more other shit.
What got me this time was that immediately my whole body just recognized everything that I'm doing on top of what I need to do. And what I mean is that I didn't want any coffee. I just wanted water. And that was immediate. Like I immediately felt that. And it's because I know it's something that I usually use in order to get through a day when I'm feeling pretty tired, right? And so you have a coffee, it keeps you going. But the fact is, if you're feeling tired, you should be able to either rest or figure out what's making you tired. And since I know it's not my job making me tired, It is definitely just how much of Ray has been accumulating since the retreat. Because, and I recognize this very much now, but I often put it aside. Ray is really trying very hard in general. Like he really is. Like he looks at his life, I look at my life, and I just fuck, it's weird to have that conversation, isn't it? Because in this state right now, I can look at all of my life, Ray's life, and at the same time recognize that as much as it is my life, it's not owned by me. Like each and every experience I have isn't necessarily related to me, it's just happening. And I'm a part of it happening. And so all of a sudden, it doesn't seem like Ray's life or my life. I don't feel like Ray. Nothing's changed, right? Nothing has changed. I'm still what I've always been. It's just that I'm not identifying with it, right? And that's where all of a sudden everything starts to open up. And I find it really interesting that all of a sudden in this place, even my wife commented on it. Oh, wow. You can feel how much less Ray there is. And she's like, not that there ever is much Ray. Oh, there is. Absolutely. Because I enjoy Ray to some degree, and I am attached to Ray to some degree, right? I really enjoy this story. I enjoy everything that I'm experiencing. God, dualistic unity, man, just blows me away. It just blows me away because I recognize that I'm all that will ever be, and I'm you and everyone else, and time and space don't mean any of that, anything at all, because no matter who you are, you're always going to end up at the end of the day recognizing that you're all you know. And that's me.
And there's no ownership in that. I was wrestling with the same sort of shit. Like when that story, because first for me it was this time around, the story gets pulled, and it's like, okay, I can't settle upon that anymore. Because I was looking around and I was like, walking through trees and looking at my dog, and like, none of those things are what I think they are. Even the word dog isn't it. Like, and so it's getting tougher to settle upon those things. And then it came back to me and the story and how fascinating it is that we invest so much into that story. And when you take out the idea that the story has ever meant anything about you, like the basics come back, and once those are filled, it's like there's so much more to focus on. Because it hit me even for someone who who like spends a shitload of money on, say, like designer stuff. It's like designer stuff, just especially when you're on mushrooms, it's like makes no fucking sense. It's like you can, the car, it looks exactly the same besides a little emblem on it. And people pay like 5 times as much for that little thing because it means something about you. So even that investment that it takes, it's an attention investment as well, because you have to make sure that it's portrayed in a way that people can recognize it too. Like you got to put it in spot, and even with yourself, if you're not so concerned with that, or I'll start with, if you are so concerned with that, you're making sure you wear the name brand shirt or whatever that costs like $200 for a t-shirt, and you walk around, you make sure that people see the emblem. Like you don't want that shit covered up. And so there's all that, even just that attention. It seems like it's not very much, but that's like the constant investment in that story that you're building. And so it's beyond just the doing, or you get a really nice new apartment. Like it can't just be for you. You have to show people that you got it. You have to put it on display somehow. Or what the fuck's the point? Exactly. There is no point to that. And so without the story, it really cuts things down to just experience, because everything the story adds distorts experience or takes away. It like takes a little bit of experience. You can't invest in the story without the story taking little nibbles at experience itself and the rawness of that's available when there isn't so much concern for the narrative, for the idea. It's like this whole new wave of shit, and we don't realize how much we're doing that, how much we're always investing through attention, through desires, fears, all that stuff is all investments in the fucking story.
Yeah. And that's really what changes on psychedelics, is that the story becomes less important than the experience you're having. All of a sudden, the experience you're having is all there is. That's why this was so difficult to do. It was like, fuck, this is reality. This is awesome. I want to take a walk. I want to enjoy the sunlight. I might listen to a little music, but there's nowhere to go. There's no one to be. Right. And I would like to say that I'm actually really quite happy by how quickly whatever distortion has built up since the retreat just kind of dissipated. Because admittedly, I don't take myself super seriously most of the time, and Ray hasn't really accumulated to a large degree. There has been a little bit of, like, we can do this, a little bit of hope for other people, a little bit of happiness and all that other stuff, because I really do enjoy the narrative that we're a part of. I think that's it. For the longest time, I didn't appreciate that narratives have their own specific beauty. This is why we do things like go to theater and whatnot, where the classic dichotomy is comedy and tragedy, right? And that is the classic dichotomy in reality, right? Like, we have sorrow and then we have joy. And the narrative strangles us when it's not voluntary. Like I was mentioning earlier about the coffee, I want everybody who's not watching the video to recognize I still have a coffee. And it's because while I recognize I don't need that, after the peak, after discarding Ray, I remembered, yeah, but that would taste really good. And it does. I want everyone to know my coffee tastes fantastic. And it's because I'm not drinking it to try and keep myself awake. I'm quite awake, but I'm enjoying the flavor of it, which is the subtle difference. That is the subtle difference to how much we can enjoy it, right? Because as much as I enjoy this coffee every time I make it, if I'm making it to keep Ray going, and I'm making it because I got to keep at the grind. I got to make sure we meet our objectives and do all that stuff. However little I take that seriously, it still does accumulate, and it still does ruin the flavor of my coffee to some degree.
Absolutely. It's fucking fascinating how much you think like you're not holding on to that much. And then it's just like the different, especially if it's been a little while since and like the last time I haven't done it very much. Like I think maybe the third, fourth, maybe, including any microdoses since the retreat the last few months. And even despite how much I've been letting go of, there's still like a lot there, and they kind of show you all that real quick. But last time I took some, actually I took a microdose the other day, just for fun. But I was gonna be when I tried to fall asleep and like lucid dream. And so you saying very much awake right now, I just remembered how fucking awake I was after I was so close. I think I fell asleep for like 30 minutes, and then I like woke up, and then I was just like, this was probably how my face looked. For those listening, my eyes are wide open. And my mouth's making a funny look. But it just reminded me of that, and just how funny. And there's like a symbolism in that. It's like it's forcing you to open your eyes to the things that you're trying to close your eyes to. Like you can't sleep on it. Maybe that's an aspect of why it's so fucking hard to fall asleep. But I guess it kind of puts you in, is a gamma brainwave, and it's harder to sleep on that. I feel like most likely if your brain's fucking firing like crazy. Um,
I could sleep right now. I really could. And here's the reason I know I could, because it's just allowing the body to just shut down. It's just allowing the body to go into rest state. That's all it is. It's just that we have such a difficulty doing that consciously that we actually have to shut off our brain in order to do that. We have to go through deep sleep in order for our body to kind of do its own thing. But you can relinquish control right now. You can just lie down and close your eyes and allow your body to go in complete rest. And this is ultimately what advanced meditation is, right? And you can even do it muscle by muscle. Start with your feet, relax your toes, relax, the underside of your foot, the arch, now relax your ankle, now relax your calf, and just go up, one muscle at a time. And you can feel your body just going, oh, God, thank you. Right. Because it just wants to hang off your skeleton and just take a break from all the fucking gravity all the time. Right. But that's an option, because so is that perspective. I find that it's really interesting in this state because there's this weird border between being super sensitive to everything in terms of your physiology, right? Because I'm very sensitive to my hands right now, or the temperature, or every sound. For example, the workings of my internal organs at the moment, my heartbeat, how my stomach feels, how my balance is sitting on my chair. Like I'm super hyper aware of all of this stuff right now, and yet I'm only aware of it through my awareness, and that awareness is the other side of that. And so there comes the subjective part where, once again, am I doing this in terms of it just being a projection of what I am, very much like a dream? And is my dream just so involved that it includes all of this awesome detail, all of this incredible, because it's incredible. But this is why it's difficult in this state of mind where I can just not be hungry. I can not be tired. I can not be a great many things like that. I would normally just go like, oh yeah, I have this reason for being tired, or I have this reason, I need water, and blah 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 blah. I love water at this point, I very much appreciate it, but I certainly don't feel necessarily the same biological pull, despite the sensitivity to it, which is really weird, right? Because normally you feel your body to a greater degree. You're like, oh, I got to take care of myself more, and you have that whole perspective. That is not the case here, right? Like I feel my body, and I'm more or less like, yeah, and that's almost optional. Not that my body doesn't need the attention, but my perspective of it being a body rather than being a reflection of my awareness, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure if that's the case. I still don't think this is entirely physical in the way that we tend to perceive it is. I think that there's a part of it that is so goddamn real that we really do fall into believing it, but I don't think it's any different than a dream.
I'm with you. It fucking even like where I'm at and having it's so hard to say because everything you're like trying to caveat. So it's like been at it for say a year and a half or whatever. It's like not even close. Not even fucking close. It's hilarious that I can even say that with a straight face, which I can't right now because I'm fucking can't wipe the smile off my face, which is typical for any sort of even the sniff of mushroom. Just like I feel it. It's interesting too. I've been getting this more and more. And I'm gonna really try to not forget what I was just about to say, but fuck it. The when I know I'm about to take mushrooms, I feel it. And this what happened to me, and I bet Ray can relate. And a lot of people listening, possibly. This was like a month ago. I forgot to talk about this on any of our calls that about she had taken a microdose and she was explaining how she felt and how she ran into some people. And it was like kind of a intense experience because there was a lot of like ideas going on that no one was sure. And she was like, on some mushrooms. So you're just so much more sensitive. It's not that you care, but there's just, you feel everything. And especially when you're not used to that state necessarily, can be a lot. And so I'm fucking driving as she's telling me this. And I'm like, oh fuck, I'm starting to feel that. I feel like I'm on mushrooms right now. And I fully did. Like I felt kind of similar to how I feel right now. And then it was hitting me like, fuck, I probably shouldn't be. And it wasn't so bad that I was that concerned with like, I shouldn't be operating a motorized vehicle right now. I was like, but why is that? Because what is this feeling that I'm feeling right now? It's just super fucking relaxed. It's just like a cessation of the tension and like an awareness of that and a lacking of concern, both physical and mental, but it doesn't mean that you can't focus in on something. Like even our right now, you could equate driving a car to like getting on a podcast episode. It's like a situation that you're in and you have this hesitation, like, can I do this while I'm on mushrooms? Can I do this in this mentality? Because it's like I felt exactly how I do on a microdose just from hearing about someone else's experience on it, which was fascinating, but also not that crazy to think that that can happen. even because it's just a mentality. It's you. It's not the mushrooms. It's you. And there's a connection there, absolutely. But like the mushrooms are you too. They're also you. So you're doing it to yourself, but also it's through you. It's like external and internal happening simultaneously. But it's I don't know. And then it's the narrative that comes in like, oh, can I be doing this right now? It's like, shut up. You're doing it. What do you mean, can you be doing this? You're doing it right now. Where's that coming from? It's the story. Like, what is this going to look like? How does this feel? Even just another example, the sun's fucking like hitting me out of the window right now across half my face, which has never happened on any of these episodes. So initially I was like, fuck, this is annoying. This is going to look weird on immediately. I go to like clips. This is going to look weird on the clips. And then I'm like, but wait a second, it also feels kind of good. Like, why am I immediately judging that? Like, this feels fucking awesome on my skin right now. And then I'm like, wait a second, like, is it me feeling the sun or is it the sun feeling me? And I'm like, oh boy. And Ray stopped talking. I was like, all right, I should start talking now. And that was what was going on in my head. But anyway, it's funny how we immediately jump to ideas of things and we like discount our experience of it. And that's kind of what I was trying to get across with the attachment to the story. Like we immediately are concerned for that supersedes our fucking experience here and now so often.
After a certain point, you start to recognize it's not really the mushrooms. The mushrooms just open the door to an experience that you forgot you could have. Right? Because children operate like this. Before the age of 5 years old, we're flying. Like we're higher than a kite, man. We're just woo. Everything is its own reward, right? And then that kind of slows down and we start relying on serotonin and we start doing all that fun stuff, right? But we were here before. That's the reason it feels so natural. It's just that we lacked all of this fun conceptual stuff to play with. And so we were in a universe that we had no understanding of in a body that wasn't even able to take care of itself. And so we almost ventured out into the world of this mass narrative so that way we could develop a body that could take care of itself so that way we could sustain this conversation maybe to a larger degree, right? Because admittedly, like Ray has become very good at surviving. He's picked up a lot of skills along the way, right? And it just happens to be facilitating this conversation. Likewise with Andrew, you've picked up a lot of skills along the way. It's rare to have this much insight at your age. A lot of people comment on it quite frequently that you are quite advanced for your age. And what I always find funny about that is that it has nothing to do with your age and everything to do with your willingness to let go of your age, which is really funny, right? Like wisdom is just letting go of your idea of yourself. Oh, age brings wisdom. No, not if you're focusing on your age.
It's so funny. Right before you said that, I'm like, what age? What age? What age are people even talking about? That's rooted in a fucking story and a half, if I've ever heard one. The idea that I am gonna be 28 soon, like that fucking cracks me up. And the idea that people actually, that's another thing. It's just like the fucking pieces of paper that people get for going through a certain amount of years in an institution that tells them certain things about the right and the wrong way to be. And then they come out of it and they're like, all right, there you go make us some money, write us some scripts. And it's fascinating like how many things there are like with age comes so many things and like there it's always the two sides of it with everything. There's like, oh, when you're younger you want to be older so you'll be respected more, and then when you're older you want to be younger so you fucking younger and like you don't have as many aches and pains and whatnot, and there's always that desire to be somewhere other than where we are. With everything that we attach to, with everything about the story comes the risk. It's like every time we cling to the story comes a fuckload of risk because you get to society has so many narratives too. Like by 30, you should have a stable career and a wife and or a husband or partner and some kids on the way and should start to have things figured out. It's totally fucking made up. Like no, like it fascinates. Like it hits me all the time, but just how much weight people feel from even something like that hitting age 30 and being in a certain spot, or hitting age 40, or hitting age 20, or hitting age fucking 10. You do this shit for 10-year-olds. Like, God damn, there's so much with every, and the age is a completely conceptual idea. And people will point to, oh, well, revolutions around the sun and whatnot. That's okay. That's it. And yet everything on top of that is some sort of story, as if turning 18 means something, that like magically a fairy comes to your bed overnight, and you hit 18 and it's like, all right, now you're an adult. Now you think totally differently. You're way more rational with your thoughts. You know who you are, and here you go. Off you go. It doesn't work like that at all, but we'd like to think that it does. We'd like to think that there's just, yeah, that's what it is. Exactly what I thought. It's exactly what I thought that it was. Exactly what it means. Precisely. And I'm gonna follow this. And there's so many people. That's what leads to the fucking midlife crises, is that people, or midlife crises. Fuck. And people will go through their life following all of it. They'll follow society and all its wants and demands to a fucking T. And they wake up and they're like, oh shit. Oh shit. This isn't it. I haven't been living for me the entire time. But it felt comfortable. Felt like I was doing the right thing all along, but there was something about it. Felt like when a t-shirt doesn't fit quite right. It's like, all right, society's telling me this is the right size, but I don't know. It feels kind of weird right now. But whatever. Everyone else is walking around in super tight t-shirts and they don't seem super comfortable, but they're all doing it. And I don't want to be weird wearing a t-shirt that fits me. So I'm just going to keep this one on and go about my day. And everyone's interacting and everyone's thinking the same things. They're like, t-shirt looks really tight and uncomfortable. They have other sizes. It's like, yeah. Oh, really? Wait, they do? There's other. Oh, that's DU talking about that. You can wear a different size t-shirt. I don't know where the fuck
Or
that one
none at
came from.
all. Absolutely. Absolutely. No, it really is. It's interesting because, and I always end up coming back to this every time I'm on mushrooms. I'm like, right, I really like the journey. I really like the journey. We were talking earlier today about the prospect of bringing investors in to dualistic unity. And what's funny is that you and I barely think of dualistic unity as a company in general. Like, we think of it as a conversation. We kind of loosely call it a podcast, right? But it's really that, it's just what it is. And so we have to think of it as a company. And so all of a sudden then we're thinking about having investors come on. And what's interesting to me is that there's none of that, like, that narrative in terms of, you got to make a good package and bring them on and promise them the world. And it's like that. If the investors come to us, they're going to come to us through proximity to this awareness. That is very much something I'm noticing about this, is the more you're willing to just be yourself, the more the people who you interact with very much kind of sort themselves out. Very much. This is why I have no doubt about the retreats at all, admittedly, because I know that at the retreat, I'm going to be in this state, right? And that's going to change everything that I experience. And I really don't doubt that anymore, because I don't see any more separation whatsoever. But that's just the retreats. That means the rest of the time that's also true. And so I'm dipping in and out of these deepening awarenesses of myself, which is again translating in between, right? And now it's translating to other people as well. Not that it always hasn't been, but from Ray's perspective, you can't see that shit happening, right? You know what I mean? Right? But it's happening. Everybody is starting to recognize that they're me in greater and greater depths, and they're taking it with them, and they're losing it sometimes, for sure, because we have to in this world. It is quite literally the mentality that is the opposite of what we're talking about. You're going to get lost in it. It's that powerful. We are that good. Keep that in mind. But the point is that now we have this place to kind of step out of it and go, okay, I remember this. I remember this to whatever degree. And that's what dualistic unity is. That's what the groups are. They're the best we can do right now in terms of offering fucking rope out to everybody's universe. That's really all it is you want to grab onto it from your universe, you're welcome to, and you can look through this weird little window thing at our universe while we're all conversing, like basically talking about the fact that we're the same thing. You can do that. And that's all this is. If you're close enough to that awareness or you're open to it, you'll find your way. Right? Because otherwise, this is going to scare the shit out of you. You're going to run away because it doesn't make any sense. It's the absolute opposite of everything that you've ever invested in. Because, of course, it is. I love how much of this is just me not giving a fuck about myself. I just love the fact that somehow over the years of trying desperately to survive, I've just gotten good at surviving, and now I don't feel like it's surviving. I feel very much like I'm thriving, but not thriving as a human being. I feel like I'm just thriving as an awareness, and it's so cool to see it happening in everybody else that I'm talking to. The people that we talk to in our groups, man, they inspire me all the time. Like to see somebody describe, oh, earlier this week I was having this and this person was being a dick to me and I didn't let that get to me. I said fuck that noise and I let it go, and then I moved on with the rest of my day. And later on that day, this fucking miraculous thing happened. Holy fuck. And everybody communicates something along those lines. I decided not to take something personally and a fucking miracle happened. That's all we need. That is the only real direction that's necessary. This is why we don't rely too much on advertising at the end of the day, because as much as we're going to use advertising to bring people into the conversation, I'm also very much aware that a lot of those people are going to leave very quickly as the conversation deepens because they're not ready for it as yet. But it's the parable of the seeds, right? It's just that we're going to have a billboard in the middle of Times Square, which is a giant fucking seed.
Oh, fuck yeah. And the willingness to go in the other direction, like in against what every fucking person is saying. And that it's one of the toughest things to do because you got people telling you how, and you're seeing people around you like, no, this is how it worked for me. This is how it worked for everyone else. And this is, yeah, and that's in a very specific mentality. You're all playing in the same fucking game. We saw there was a different game over here. I saw that I'm not involved in that game. That game is within me, but like I'm within it, but like not really so much anymore because I've recognized that it's within me, sort of. You know what I'm trying to say.
In the
And
world, but not of it. It was said long before you and I, as I.
in the world, but not of it. Fuck. Well, I've heard that one probably like 20 times, and now it's hitting. Of course, I'm like trying to describe it. It's like, oh yeah, that one. I've been through this before. But that too, like that, there's so much pushing against that, like reinforce, dude, this fucking sun. I'm loving it. I don't give a fuck. It is what it is. It's so funny, of course, like this episode. But the amount of things that take us further from the core, like everything's pulling. It's like it's almost like, I don't know, like there was the expansion of me. I say was, but like, Jesus, there is the expansion of me that is, and again, it's like preferences coming in. I was gonna say it's just great, it's great that we can have experience, but like it is, it is an inevitability in the amount of things that could possibly, an infinite potential. This is an inevitability. And we've taken that and just like pulled it out from, and are trying to now make it into sort of like its own thing as opposed to an expression of a possibility. It's like, oh no, now this is, no, this is just it. And now we've been able to like create a division between it and what is, and reality, and myself and what is, through the illusion that now we're like over here focused on the little story of it, be it for me, at the perceived individual level and the collective level. Like we're seeing reality as something separate from reality, like society is something separate from reality as opposed to an expression of it. So it just fascinates me how much we've done in terms of an investment from that. Like even now as you're talking, like it hits me clearer some days than others that like everything, even up to like everything up to my face isn't divided from me. And so I'm able to conceptually create this idea that, this, and for this example, it works. The sun is way out there, but I'm feeling it. I'm very much feeling it on my skin. If I didn't have a conceptual idea of what the sun is, idea of how far away it is, all the scientific knowledge we have about it that defines it, and all of the cerebral understanding of myself that defines me. Like this is just reality happening. Like this warmth I feel on this side of my face and not this side of my face is just it coming from another part of myself interacting with it. So like we have the idea that the sun is I am feeling the sun, but like I am the sun feeling me. Well, like there's no division in that for anything. The cold hits your skin, cold breeze. Like there's no division between that. The ability to feel that and that be an aspect of your experience must mean that it's you. It must. It's your experience.
It's interesting when you look at it that way, because it's just that there are parts of us that are going through stages of development where they just can't recognize that they're everything. And it's just because, why not? Right? It's a lot. Like it's a lot. When we always talk about the spectrum in terms of everything, like in terms of learning and growing and talking to other people and their path and all, we talk about the spectrum. But when we talk about the spectrum of your existence, it's everything from biology to divinity. It's a big spectrum. It's a big spectrum. And the biology end on its own is fucking massive. You can spend your whole life just being human, never aware that you're actually everything, that you're divine. You can spend your entire life blissfully unaware of the fact that you are all that will ever be. And that is the gift. Oddly enough, it's the beauty of all of this, but it's also the tragedy of all of this, in that if we don't keep it in mind, if somebody doesn't keep it in mind, then that mentality runs amok. Which is why I think we always had in tribal society certain shamans, quote unquote, right? The name was irrelevant to them. I can almost guarantee that. Again, originally, generationally, it's a different thing. You see how it all gets fucked up, right? Over time, you pass it on to someone. You're like, now you are the shaman, and if they haven't done this fucking thing, right, where they recognize, like, right, I'm you. I'm just carrying on the torch, as it were, right? Then they don't get it. All of a sudden, it becomes an egotistical thing, right? It's something you can pass on to someone, you can bestow. I remember I had somebody tell me that they were bestowed with the Tao. I just fucking laughed my ass off. They're like, no, I met a Zen monk. He bestowed me with the Tao. I'm like, first of all, bullshit. Second of all, what monk? What monk would ever say they could bestow you with what you are? Right? But that's it. It becomes conceptual. It becomes one of those things that we would just want to hold on to. It's like, yeah, it defines me now, and you don't get it. It's it's such a shitty imitation to actual freedom. Like that's the thing about any egotistical high. It's just a shitty supplement to being God, right? Because you don't need to feel like you're better than anyone. You don't need jewels. You don't need a fucking throne. You don't need fucking anything. You're just happy sitting down by a goddamn watering hole wearing nothing but a loincloth because you can. It changes your perspective. And this is why, as soon as we start nation building, as soon as some asshole puts himself on a throne, as soon as somebody's sitting on a fucking pillow pretending to be spiritual, that's when you get fucking suspicious. And again, like I always say, because people will defend those people, like, well, they're spreading the message. Yeah, okay, they are. Sure. They can do that without doing all that shit. Right? Mix it up. Just for the sake of allowing people to know, right, that's not important. Because that really is it. None of it's important. It's not about how you bring the message across, unless, of course, you're trying to define yourself, in which case you're distorting that message. That's all it is. It's not that I don't appreciate all of the work I've done in all of my other incarnations. It's just that I recognize there's a fucking distortion. There's a distortion. I even went so far as in episode 1 of Dualistic Unity to call out Jesus for the wording that he chose, that I chose. I am the way, the truth, and the light. And the reason I say that is because there's still some arrogance there. You're the way, the truth, and the life. I am happy to serve you.
Yeah. Jesus Jesus didn't quite, I don't know. There's still some shit he was going through. Yeah. And you can tell by how okay people are with them seeing you in a certain way. Like, yeah, we've been talking a little about our boy Aaron Apke. I went through some of his videos recently and the comment section, and that's I think a big tell because there's people in there like Aaron, oh my God, you're amazing. Oh my God, like you're a 4D like light worker that's come to save us all, and I want to suck your fucking cock. And no, they're not really. That's how my brain was interpreting it. Like, Jesus Christ, there's a lot of people want to suck your fucking dick. But they 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 say these things and put it in this way. And he's not pushing back. He's not pushing back. And I get it. You don't, it's not that you always have to push back, but he's also not leaving them as they are. He's like responding in a way that he's agreeing with them as I am bringing us closer to 4D. I am a light worker. I am lighting up the world through myself. And it's like, God, dude, come on. And as much as he'll say, it's the conceptual and the concepts aren't truth. They're all pointing. What do they think about themselves? And that's the tell. That's the tell. You're playing poker. It's like that's where they show their fucking cards. It's like that's where you see it. Is yeah, but what does it mean about you? What does all this shit mean about you? And if it means a whole lot, they're not, it's not it. It's distorted. It comes back to them, the idea, every single time. And that's like, imagine, and I'll get off Aaron Apke's case for a sec, but imagine, and to Ray's point, he was talking just before this about imagine a Indian monk person or spiritual guru just coming out on stage and like fucking tossing the pillow in like jeans and a t-shirt, being like, let's fucking chat. And everyone's like, wait a second. Because they're buying in, and I get the whole like, oh, it's part of the ceremony. Fuck the ceremony. Why are they buying into a ceremony? That's not it. The ceremony isn't it. Ceremony isn't the core of it. It's taking away from it. All of it's taking away, especially when people are looking at you in a certain way and you're like okay with the message being so fucking distorted. Like that's very telling of where you're at.
I
No
gotta
matter what.
say, I really loved the imagery of a Buddhist or Zen monk coming out in ripped jeans and just throwing the pillows and all of that, because my immediate thought was Kurt Cobain in Nirvana, which is fucking hilarious because the whole Buddhist interpretation of Nirvana, right? And the idea of Nirvana is so very far removed from the reality, whereas the band Nirvana is absolutely what we're talking about, because they didn't give a shit about what people thought of how they looked. They cared about the music. They cared about the impact it had. And that is straight up Nirvana being experienced for anyone who has the appreciation to do so. And that is far, far closer to the reality than any Buddhist concept will ever get.
Fucking I crack myself up. The reality. Fucking because that how funny is that? We're pointing to Nirvana. We have an idea of Nirvana. There's a band that actually embodies it better than any motherfucker has ever tried to do through thinking that they've recognized it and pointing to it. And these fuckers over here, just like, yeah, let's call it Nirvana. Yeah, let's not give a fuck about what people think. Let's fucking roll. Let's do what we love and just fuck all else. And that's Nirvana. And everyone sees that through the narrative of like, oh, well, that's not it. I don't know. I don't even know
They
very
sound
much about
angry.
Nirvana. Yeah. It's like it's freedom. I don't even, and again, I don't even know that much. I know a few of their songs, but like probably did a bunch of drugs, and people just have this certain narrative of like, oh, the calm, the peace, like can't, my body is my temple. And it's like, yeah, but you're still judging everyone. You're still perceiving everyone as separate from you. You're still distorting the message through the lens of yourself. Like I mean, I'm sure they were caught up to a degree in the idea of themselves, but not when they were fucking rocking, not when they were doing that. That was Nirvana was embodying Nirvana a lot of the time. And people have this idea of what it is, and it gets in the way, like with everything. You have an idea of everything, it gets in the way of the reality of what it is.
Yeah, then the ego showed up to make a profit, right? And all of a sudden he was famous. And that started pulling him into his own ego and his own need and the people around him. It would have been just terrible. It would have been very, very difficult. And again, like the impact. You have to appreciate just the impact. This happens so often in our history. You'll notice that somebody touches the divine and then they die very young. And it's just because of the world not being able to appreciate the divine coming to fruition, coming to its awakening, right? And so this is why I get very excited about this, because as I said, it's not about the idea so much as the timing. The environment really does have to be receptive to the idea for it to really take root. And the idea of surrendering our reliance on ideas is almost never going to take root in an environment that is based on ideas as a source of value and truth until it's run its course, until there's nothing left but the obvious suffering that mentality creates. And that's where we are. We are at the conclusion of this inevitable sprint towards division and all of the suffering it creates. And the only thing that's different right now is how many people are still invested in it because they have some hope that it's going to pay off. The other people are just getting tired of the suffering. They're recognizing it doesn't matter how fucking hard you work in this mentality, you are never, ever, ever going to win. And thank God for the world showing us that in terms of the fucking mass narrative. All these rich fuckers who are turning the tide and making it obvious that this system's going to fuck you over. Yeah, that. You can complain about it, but the fact is that it's changing your mind. It's making you want to stand up and be responsible. It's making you very suspicious that anyone's ever going to take care of you. And that is exactly what we need. It's exactly what I need, is to be responsible for myself as myself. This is what all of this shit comes down to. Everybody's like, oh, well, we got the Bill of Rights. No, nah. You see, that is an illusion in that you are saying someone else gave you rights. Your rights come from what you have the ability to do. If you can do it, you have the right to. But somebody else equally has the right to respond. But we don't come from that mentality. We don't come from that mentality, and so we're not finding any middle ground because we're not being honest. We're letting this middle ground be dictated by politicians who will benefit from it instead of doing it ourselves. And that's the mentality that we need. And they're going to fucking show it to us, man. You watch. They're going to make this so fucking obvious that they don't give a fuck about you, that they're going to burn this whole world to the fucking ground until you finally decide to take responsibility and go, well, fuck it, I'll take care of myself. And then we can all start working together and change things. But until that point, we lack the clarity to do anything. Right. And so this is why, again, I get excited about dualistic unity. Seeing every single person that we talk to have just once in a while, doesn't even matter how much, just a little bit of that fucking illusion just disappear. A little bit less of a commitment to that suffering, the recognition, like, I don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. And then watching the benefit happen on its own. See, that's the nice thing about this, is that I know somebody comes in for coaching, for example, I don't have to give them homework. I just have to give them space to work shit out on their own. And then they'll go out into the world, and reality will give them the chance to exercise that insight that they just had. I don't have to have a hand in it. I don't have to worry about being a good coach. I really do have faith in myself as reality, which is them and their reality. Just let go.
And even this morning for me, I mean, okay, I had something else, but I'm gonna bring this up first. I got it written down so I won't forget. It's funny how like little care there is for that, even more so now. Not that like I've gotten way better about letting things go, like come as they come, go, let it go as it goes, let it go, whatever that phrase is. And just the willingness to let go of my idea of what the best thing to say is, like, oh, I really want to get this across. And it's like forget what you say and you're like, oh, it was so good. It's like it wasn't the time. It wasn't it. Wouldn't have quite fit. There's like a recognition of that flow. It's like stuff like little things like that. You know, you forget where you were going, something. It's like maybe that wasn't appropriate for the moment that you were embodying in that experience. And with that was like a double off track thing that I just went from, my idea of where I wanted to take it, of course. Fun to see that happen. This morning I had a one-on-one with someone who was like, they had a ayahuasca trip recently and they were pretty deep into that and recognizing like getting to the point of, oh, this means like it's just me. I'm alone. And I was just sitting there like, oh boy. And I felt like, I don't know, probably how Ray feels a lot of times where it's like someone they're already bringing so much and it's just like little taps. So, the reality is, with understanding you're not what you think and that fear of eternity that you have, like no end, that's here now too. That eternity is the beginning and the end is here now because we haven't been around for billions of years. I've always been around. It's not that there was a beginning 13 billion years ago or whatever. It's like that's just what we've measured and like it gives us some comfort to have a relative beginning to where we're at. It's like no, there's no start, no end that isn't here now. This is the beginning and the end of you, always, forever. And it's funny how, with how far we've gotten from that now, because I'll still get caught. Not that there's like a credit thing, like taking credit for it, but there's still like the dualist community with Andrew and Ray, which just sounds so much funnier now, even that it's like we did it or something. It's like, no, this was necessary. This is what it like Andrew Ray are the flow of it that I am utilizing in order to express certain things that I've gotten so far from understanding. And so there's no one to teach. It's just I am an expression, Andrew is an expression of that flow that's able to be sort of utilized that, in order for this conversation in this certain environment in this society, like podcasts, conversations happen on podcasts. All right, it'll come out as a podcast and there'll be other ways, utilize social media. All right, social media is a thing, a tool that I have now to get this fucking message across. And so it's just like seeing that as tools and Andrew sort of being a lever, and it's funny using third person shit, but everyone listening, I'm sure, gets that it's like a tool for me to use, but then Andrew gets caught in a story, and like Andrew has preferences, and it's like, fuck, you're making this more difficult to utilize you as this tool. Just let go. It's happening. Like it's happening. Just let go. It's okay. Like I got you. I got me. There isn't that. And so you see in yourself, and that's when people are like, let go. It's like there's a flow to things, but you're also like you can't get caught in thinking you're being controlled by some grand fucking puppet master because you're not that. You are both and neither always, and that's what sends your brain into like I want to know what I am though. I need to need to settle upon something. It's like, you can't. I'm sorry, you can try. You can do your best to, but it'll come at a risk. It comes with risk every time you settle. It comes with potential consequences. Absolutely. Every time you start thinking that you're just that as opposed to it.
I love it. And I gotta say, I find it really funny because it's kind of like I'm going to water the garden with a hose. I'm going to dualistic unity with Ray and Andrew. Like we are just the way that is being facilitated. You could be dualistic unity with your name, is what we're saying. Because what we're saying is that you are dualistic unity. I am dualistic unity. Everyone is dualistic unity. And I almost prefer that to the word God because it's a paradox on its face. Nobody is going to go, it's some being. No, 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 no. See, that's dualistic, right? It's also unity, which means it's you. So you can't escape it. I really like that. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to encourage people to do that from now on. If they're going to create something like a channel, they can call themselves like Dualistic Unity with Bill.
Because it catches itself, and every time you go through too far in the conceptual unity, the non-dual teacher route, and it's like, yeah, there's still the experience of duality. Don't forget about that. You're discounting a lot of yourself right now, and I know you're only doing it out of fear, and because that side of things caused you a lot of discomfort and suffering for a while, but just because you don't think it's you doesn't mean it's not also you. And there's an attachment to that too. Like there's another identity that comes up. There's both sides of it, getting too attached to the belief in unity and not recognizing the continued perception of division, but still, and then obviously we've been doing this for a while, getting caught in the duality of it, and not recognizing the unity. Like there's both. It's almost like collectively, maybe you could say we're getting closer to recognizing unity, sort of like if you see both sides of it. I'm just going to roll with this. I know it's not actually it, but like moving from pure duality to the other end is it's not pure unity because it's always been that, but like belief in only duality, belief in unity, that whole narrative. It's like we're coming, the pendulum swinging back, but with that, there's the risk of those attaching to it on the other side. It's like you get flung so hard that you're like, oh wait, now I'm way over here, and this is it. I feel like I've let go of so much, and now it's like a belief in it, and that's where we get the non-dual teacher crowd is like the swing, and I'm almost seeing like like a bunch of people hanging onto a pendulum, and it's like they're holding on real tight, and it's just swinging, and like the momentum whips them off into like the abyss of believing in unity, as if that's like, because in infinite potential, that's something that's going to come up. People are going to try and conceptualize the reality of unity, and so then they're like way fucking over there, and like just like splat against the wall of like believing in unity, and they can't even see anything else, so they're just like staring at it, and it's like, this is it. It's like, bro, turn around, there's a lot more. So anyway, coming back to dualistic unity, it keeps things at balance, because as soon as someone is so far on one end, it's like there's another side of this paradox. But then you can also get attached to the believing in the name and thinking that dualistic unity is something other than just a reminder, just a yeah, just you.
Other than just you. And that's it. As soon as anybody tells you dualistic unity is this, they're full of shit. And that includes you. If you have an idea of what dualistic unity is, you're full of shit because it's not. And I keep that in mind every day. Every day that we record a podcast episode, every day that we release something, I remind myself that this is not what I think it is. Because why would I limit it like that? Right? And that includes my idea of myself. And that's what this is, a reflection of how I perceive reality, a reflection of the work I've done and how much I don't give a fuck about Ray necessarily as being like an important idea. Because it's not. It's an important experience. Yes. But as an idea, nah, just gets in the way. Gets in the way of actual experience, gets in the way of actually like enjoying my time here. Just take it too seriously. That's all it is. And it's addictive. That's all it is. Right. Because everybody else is around us just fucking acting like junkies. Basically, I gotta identify, gotta get more identity. Oh my God, I don't have enough identity. People are thinking about me. Like it's fucking ridiculous. At the end of the day, it sounds so fucking desperate and needy, and it's just because you rely so heavily on this concept that will never be you. It will never be you. You are what you will always be. And that's always changing. So you don't have to have an idea of that either. So just like dualistic unity, if you have an idea of yourself, you are still full of shit.
And fuck that idea. And that's it. Cause like as you recognize that you can't settle upon it, like you are change manifest. Like we try and cling to a story and like that's not it. It inhibits that. Like when I was walking before and recognize just like realizing more and more clearly how much it's the story that gets in that gets in the way. Without so much of that story, it's like what's stopping you from trying anything, doing anything, really? Because you can't, and that's the thing is like it's impossible. So Ray was saying, like grabbing on, I need more identity, as if there's an amount that's going to satiate you. We have this made up idea that like we get enough, and like then we'll be good. It's like you're grappling at infiniteness. That's in every facet, every spectrum, everything you perceive. Getting more in order to mean something about you has no end. You'll never be full. It's like thinking that more identity is dumping water into a glass and not recognizing there's a crack in it. And you just keep pouring it in. It's like, why isn't it filling up? It's like there's a fucking hole in the glass, bro. Because it's not it. It can't do it for you. Like the chair analogy we were using in the Patreon call just before this. Like identity is that broken chair that we keep just trying to stand up on, and it keeps tumbling. And we beating the fuck out of us because we keep falling off a chair that's like 3 feet off the ground. We're like, oh, why isn't this working? It's broken. You can't. And every time you try and fix it, it another part breaks or something. It's like you're unable to set it right because it could never be because it's a distortion. It's an illusion. It's never it, but we try and create it, like make it into what we think it is. It's kind of like in Tron Legacy, when his alter ego or the perfect idea of himself that he creates, or the clone or whatever, tells him to create a perfect world, and he tries to, and he gets to a point that it is conceivably on paper perfect, and it's not, because it always was. Like we keep trying to fix ourselves. It's like we keep trying to fix thinking that there's something broken. So we keep trying to, and like as we go, we're like breaking things as we go. And it's because you're already it. You're trying to find out what you are. This, look around. You. It's never what you think, but it's always what you are.
That's really well said. We really do have this idea of perfection, and it gets in the way of what would otherwise be there. Because, of course, as soon as you have the idea of control, as soon as you have an idea of perfection, anybody who doesn't live up to that must be changed. They must be addressed. And immediately there's that divide. And this is why we have such a divide between people who are suffering through the opioid epidemic, or people who are going through homelessness, and then people who are like, oh, why can't they just pick up their feet? Why can't they just work harder? Why can't they just be self-responsible? And it's like there is such a disconnect in terms of recognizing that's you. That's you in another life. That's you in another world. And all you're doing is judging that person, just saying that they should act more like you so you can feel better. And that's unfortunately superficial and short term, right? Because even if they were able to act more like you, that doesn't mean they're happy. You're not happy. That's why you need them to change. Right? And so if we could just let go of our idea of what should be done, what people should do, and meet them where they are, and just give them our time. See, I think that's the thing. We always miss this. Like, we've just lost the capacity to be together and actually enjoy it. We're so busy running around, we're so busy trying to be something that we don't even recognize that people remind us of what we are. We just get so caught up in the idea that we forget that. And then when we get out of that idea, all we want to do is give to other people who are lost in the idea. And that's it. All we want to do is just be around. It's not even doing something. It's not going out and saving yourself. It's just not judging yourself. That's really all it is. It's so funny because at one point I went through this phase where I'm like, I got to raise money for the homeless. I need to get out there and do good. That's not necessarily the case. And I'll tell you why. Because not every homeless person is going to take advantage of the offer that you are trying to make or your ideal solution for what they should do. You might think to yourself, well, if I give them $100, they're going to go and make the right decision. They may not. They may make a decision that makes sense to them and not you. And you have to be willing to let that go. And you have to be willing to let that go. And so from my perspective, until I have a lot of resources where I can organize things that isn't just a handout, but actually addresses the environment and allows people the opportunity to thrive if their mentality gives them the opportunity to do so, or gives them an opening or even the desire to do so, right? That's way more important. And what I mean by that is that it's better for you not to judge that homeless person that's panhandling on the street than it is for you to give them $2. If you don't have the $2, don't beat yourself up. Just don't judge them. Just don't judge them. Don't assume you know anything about their life. Don't assume you know anything about what they want, about their trajectory, about what they're going through. Just don't assume. That's all you have to do. And that in itself gives people freedom. It gives them a little bit of space. It makes them feel like they're not trying to live up to everybody else's expectations. That's all any of us want on any level, on any side of the spectrum. It doesn't matter if you're a rich asshole or a poor asshole. Fact is, you want people to stop calling you an asshole.
Because that mentality where you don't assume anything about them is trickles into everything. Like just that you think of it like, oh, okay, it's better to not judge them, but that carries into every other situation that you'll experience. Because we like to think that it's in silo, but it can't. Nothing's in silo. No experience, no perception is ever in silo. It carries into everything. That's why fear of judgment and the desire to judge oftentimes go hand in hand, almost always, because you believe that it's a reality. Like you're believing it to be true. You're invested in one side of it, comes with the other side. It's like, investing in a coin and being surprised by the other side being there. Like Alan Watts has a lot on that, the front and back necessitate each other. But we look at one side and then the other side, we turn it over and we're like, oh my God, there's another side. It's like you can't have one without the other. You can't have that. And so as going through your day to day, letting go of that judgment that comes back through everything that you do. So the impact on yourself as reality will be far reaching through just dropping that idea that you have any certainty about what anyone else is ever going through, and letting go of that judgment, come around to the next person you see, maybe even come back to yourself eventually. I think a lot of times that's the toughest one we have with is letting go of that self judgment, because that's the most false certainty we've ever had is about ourselves, but that's never been it either. It's almost as you let go of the narratives, recognizing that everything has a name, everything has a label. With that label comes a story. Like it's one thing to let go of that, but it comes back to you too. It means that that person over there, you don't know them. That stranger that you come across that you were about to judge, you don't know them. You equally don't know your narrative either. But we've just gotten so used to saying it. Like, oh shit. Like oh fuck, that's hitting me differently this time around, that you don't know that stranger that you come across and the narrative about them that you feel like you don't know is equal to how little you know your narrative or the reality of you.
Well said. Absolutely. Because that's what you're doing when you judge. You're validating your idea of you. That's why you judge. That's why people judge more and more and more, right? Is to validate that idea of yourself. And so, in not judging others, you are actually freeing yourself from the fear of other people's judgment, because you recognize that it's not actually based on anything except a superficial assumption. And then what's funny is that just that little bit of freedom changes everything that you do in the world. And let's just use this example. How many things have you, our listener, whoever you might be, I know you're me, and so you're likely going to resonate with this. How many things have you bought simply because you didn't want to be judged by others? How much money have you spent trying to avoid judgment, your own or other people's? How much have you invested in your idea, trying to make sure that it has value, trying to make sure that it looks good to everyone else? How much have you invested? Now let's remove all of that need and just give you back all that money. What would you do with it now that you don't need? And what if there were other people who had the same recognition right now, and I gave them back all their money for all that time that they had invested in an idea that didn't work? We'd have a shit ton of money, wouldn't we? We would have a shit ton of money and the clarity to fucking do something. And that's how important it is. Because the rest of your life, you'll be free, which means that your money will be yours.
Well said. Yeah. Makes you wonder how much we invest. It's literally such a massive fucking investment. Like there are people who like the percentage of the money that they spend is so much involved in that, like such a high percentage for many of us is such a high number. And without that, like even, you know, I don't know, going out to eat, and it's like, yeah, you can be a foodie and whatnot, but there's like, I don't know, there's even something there with that. It's like you want to be seen doing certain things or buying certain things. And like there's so much just ingrained into us. Not ingrained because that implies that it's like we can't escape it, but it's gotten so solidified. It almost does feel like concrete in a sense. Like it's something you need some powerful fucking tools to drill through. But it's only you. It's like the seeing the us as tools for me being tools for it. It's like the tool has built this sort of like a barrier around itself that is now cemented. And so it's harder to move, and there's like a resistance to everything, and that's identity. It's like a cloak or a cement fucking thing around the tool, and so the tool can no longer be moved because it's gotten caught in itself. It's kind of like
The
in that movie.
government.
I was gonna say in the movie Soul, when the guys, the big ominous creatures, like it's identity gets built up to the point that they feel so lost because they're so caught in their story and their narrative, and we're not able to be. So I guess it comes at both ends. Damn. So kind of to your point, the government, it's like the other end, being able to utilize each human life as a resource to like kind of matrixy type thing. Very much. I mean, yeah, very much matrixy. And so there's that pull also. And so on the other end, as you recognize how your freedom more and more, and the reality of what you are, it's like then it's not able to utilize that as much. So again, it's like both ends. The reality of you and the embodiment of the fiction of you in a massive entity like the government.
That's taking care of itself. That's gotten so good at doing its job that it's preserving itself. And that's the problem with the government. It was a tool. It was only ever meant to be a tool. If we were to break it down right now, let's just say there's 10,000 of us. We had a chunk of land. We decided we were going to build some houses. We were going to do all that. We would eventually have to come together and go, okay, so how are we going to organize this shit? That is supposed to be the government. That's all the government was ever meant to be. And it expanded over time. to involve other groups of people, and then we had to negotiate with them. And instead of just being in that process of constantly being in communication with everybody else and the people within our community, we formed a government. And that government became another egotistical tool that just kept itself preserved to the point where literally the founding fathers of the US actually put it in there that occasionally your government's going to become tyrants. Because they knew, they were aware it's going to happen. John Adams actually said there isn't a democracy yet that hasn't committed suicide. Right? And it's because of the mentality of the people. This is why they leaned so heavily on liberty. Let people live their lives. Let them communicate with one another. Let them decide what their government is. Then they will have freedom and things will move. Things will change. Things will be more fluid. Like that was the whole point of the separation of church and state and all that other shit. Like stop telling people what to do. And instead, the government became another tool for telling people what to do. And it's because we forgot, right? We built that tool because we forgot that we're the same awareness that has always been here. It was very much us. It is always us. It's still us getting carried away in, I don't know, the game that other people are telling us is really important. Like that's the thing. You'll notice this. You can be like, well, I can't organize a local government because the government is already telling me I got to vote. Yeah, that's true. And a lot of people are probably going to buy that line of shit. But you're still out there creating stuff in your life. You're still running your own business. You're still interacting with people, and other people might share your mentality. And the simple fact is that you can just work with those people. You can just talk to those people as a part of your community. It doesn't have to be a government. You see what I mean? Like even the idea of government removes from what it was supposed to be. It was just supposed to be us being organized, working together, right? And instead, it's like, okay, here's another perfect example. There's a reason everybody who works in the government is called a servant. Nobody takes that in. They're called public servants. Why do you think that is? Who do you think they're serving? If not the public, which is you. But how many government agents actually keep that in mind? How many government agents will say, well, I got a badge here and you got to do what I say? It's like, you work for me, motherfucker.
Literally, too. It's where your taxes go is to that. We've gotten so confused, especially with recent events, in it thinking it knows what's best, but it makes sense. It's like that's the course, that's the trajectory in an unwatched me, like an unwatched, uncurated, untended garden. Inevitably, it's going to go awry. You leave a garden out, you don't pull the weeds here and there, it gets overgrown pretty fucking quick. We weren't tending our garden, right? And
sounds a lot like our ego, doesn't it? And this is what I'm saying, is that the world that we are witnessing is the symbolism for our collective mentality. It's the symbolism for your mentality as God. For yours, not ours, yours as everything. Your mentality is currently what is being reflected in all of our narratives. It's just that one of us has to eventually take responsibility for that to change. One of us, because there is only one of us.
I think that's a great spot to end this episode. Fuck, this has been a lot of fun.
I'm not quite done yet. I just got one more thing I want to bring up quickly. I was keeping it in reserve because earlier you mentioned the person that you were talking to went on their DMT experience. And what's interesting is that here we are on psilocybin mushrooms. And of course, anybody watching this or listening to this has noticed that there has been this progression from the beginning of the episode up until now, where we've kind of gotten our sea legs. Like, right, they're using concepts and words and they're not quite so lost in the experience that they're having right fucking now. But you'll notice that this entire episode was done with our eyes open, which is why there was more in terms of coherence. Now, a DMT trip, or any trip that's heavy with the hallucinations, is just like closing your eyes on mushrooms, right? That's why I do prefer mushrooms to DMT or any other kind of hallucinogen, because quite frankly, you have a foot in both worlds. You want to go hard, you can close your eyes. If you don't, you can stay here and be in your creation, which is just as good. earlier, I was really appreciating the fact that as I lay on my yoga mat, just chilling out, I could clearly see the dream I had last night. I could clearly see a bunch of visuals that I've had years before. I could clearly see people that I've talked to. I could clearly see all of these different experiences that I'm going to have throughout the rest of my life because they're all there. They're all within your awareness right here and now. All of them. It's just that we segment them down to what we can tolerate. Right? When we start getting too aware, we're like, oh, I gotta calm down. That's a lot. And it's only because we're resisting it. Right? That's all it is. You can sit right in the middle of that torrent, watch all of those visuals go by, and never once react to them, never once think that they're out of place, never once communicate, oh my God, I don't know what's happening, because you never know what's happening, and just relax through it. And I just found it so very interesting that every visual that I could have possibly had on a hallucinogenic trip was right there in front of me as soon as I closed my eyes. But then again, so was every person I've ever met, every conversation I've ever had, every dream I've ever had. It's always right here and now. It's always right here and now. All of it. All of it is. And I find it so interesting. It's like, oh, I had a huge trip. Just close your eyes and unlock your imagination, if you want to call it that. Just close your eyes and stop thinking about yourself. And what you'll find is everything.
That's the veil of you hindering that ability to tap in to all of those experiences. And that's it. Like, that's the thing. It's not the mushrooms. It's not the drugs. It's not the DMT. It's not the ayahuasca. It's not the LSD or anything. It's you. It's just you. And it's that veil of what you think you are that hinders your ability to tap into that. And each and every moment, there is a fuckload to explore inside of your mind, which is whether your eyes are open or closed inside of your mind. But we're veiled so often. The mushrooms rip that right open, even if it's fairly thin. There's still more to see, and how often we're hindering ourselves just fascinates me.
It's exciting. It really is, because again, my half my life I've spent trying to break down the division between the person I am right now versus the person I think I am the rest of the time. And everything we talk about on dualistic unity in terms of letting go, having faith, not trusting your idea of yourself, all of that is everything that I've learned in this path. It's everything I've learned in this path. And so I don't think the mushrooms are always going to be necessary. I think that right now they are very much helping us hold the insanity at bay. But I don't think that that's always going to be necessary. I think we will get to a point, or we can get to a point, where we practice these insights in our day-to-day lives, so we're never so far removed from the state that we're in on mushrooms. Because it's the same thing. Mushrooms just tap you into the present that you've always been. That's all it is. It's just that we spend so much time running to the fiction of who we think we are that we never get used to how much we actually are. That's all I wanted to add to the episode.
I think that is a fantastic spot to close this one off. This has been a whole fuckload of fun. Holy shit. Yeah, I mean, we could definitely keep this up for another couple hours, going in and out of the vastness of me, but we got a retreat coming up. 5 days, gonna be on Vancouver Island, and not need a mute, not need a call to hop on, not need a fucking screen in sight, quite frankly, because there aren't many screens in sight almost ever. It's just interacting with myself and the freedom that comes with that without so much of a story. And I am very excited to be in that state. So I appreciate everyone coming along this journey in this episode that we have leading up to said retreat. I think it was very appropriate, and I look forward to chatting with all of you soon.
Bye, everyone.